Hello and welcome back to my channel in this very special video, because welcome back to the 1968. Yes, my friends, welcome back to 1968, where V8s were made with powerful outputs and no one cares about fuel economy, and everyone cared about power, top speed, and burning rubber and burning tires. This is the legendary Ford/Lincoln 460 cubic inch V8. This is a very special engine from the Windsor family, made specifically for luxurious Lincoln cars at that time. This engine is huge, 460 cubic inch, or in metric, for 7.5 liters. As you can see, 7.5 liter V8 engine. As you can see, it's a 90 degrees 8-cylinder engine with cast iron block, 110.8 millimeter on the bore, which is a huge amount of bore. Wow. And the stroke is 97.8 millimeters, which equals 7,544 cc. An absolute beast at the time. Push rods is the head and valves, with 2 valves per cylinder, cast iron head, cast iron crankshaft, heavy duty forged connecting rods, or as they name them in real life, forged steel connecting rods, and forged pistons. Zero quality here. 10.5 to 1. Yes, can you imagine 10.5 to 1 the compression ratio at 1968? This was a really huge thing back then. A higher compression ratio with carbureted engines, because it's not easy to make a high compression ratio engine with a single 4-barrel carburetor on the top. That was a big challenge. 49 on the cam profile. As you can see, I'm using plus 15 quality on the camshaft. I had to push the quality all the way so I can make the perfect power and torque as the real deal. Natural aspirated, single 4-barrel carburetor on the top, standard intake manifold so I can make it quiet and smooth like the real engine is, because the real engine was a high performance engine slash comfortable luxurious engine. So this engine should be this engine should have been, or this engine is smooth and powerful at the same time. That's why I used standard intake manifold. As you can see, 12.8 is the air fuel ratio, which is a little bit too much. I know that these engines were gas guzzling engines. These engines were very thirsty at the time. That's why because they require a lot of fuel, so they don't explode from that high compression internals. As you can see, I'm using 39 on the ignition timing, 5,500 is the RPM limit, with also plus 15 quality on the fuel system. So this was a great challenge. Short cast headers with dual exhaust pipes, 2.5 inch is the exhaust diameter, like the real engine. Baffled first muffler, like the real engine. Reverse flow second muffler, also like the real engine. As you can see, plus 3 quality here, and this is the final result. 365.5 horsepower at 5,100 RPM, 481.8. It should be 482, but as you can see, 0.8, so we are very close at 3,200 RPM like the real engine. 350 kilograms, as you can see on the dot. Someone is actually revving its car, or his car, on the street. I just heard that. Okay, the reliability 60, of course, because I'm using plus 15 on the camshaft and plus 15 on the fuel system. The reliability has shot through the roof, so this is perfect. 60 points in 1968. This is like 95 in 2008, so this is perfect. Service cost is low. That's what these engines were used to be. They didn't cost so much to run, and they were very reliable and very torquey. The fuel economy is 14%, also good because I'm using plus 15 quality on the fuel system. That's why the fuel economy is great. I'm not really sure in the real life if they are great or not, but I read on the internet that they were really thirsty. I'm using nearly all the octane. As you can see, 98. I'm using 98 octane because I know that in real life these engines worked on 87 octane. I don't really know how. I mean, I tried everything here in automation to run them on on a regular leaded 92 octane, but no, they did not work at all. They kept knocking, this engine kept knocking, and it was a hard challenge. That's why I've chosen 98, so I can accommodate, you know, so I can accommodate the lacking of knocking. Wow, I'm terrible at speaking English today. Okay, you know what I mean, because I don't want this engine to knock. As you can see, of course, I'm using leaded fuel, which means extremely high emissions. This engine is very toxic because of using leaded fuel. It's quiet, as you can see, 31.6 points. It's very quiet, and I will make you, and as you will see when I fire it up, you will hear that how much quiet and smooth it is. The smoothness is only 41 points, not so much, I know that, but I mean, they are smooth in real life, so you can, you know, you can rely on that. But I had to use 49 on the cam profile. That's what made the smoothness drop, so I can give it the exact power and torque figures like the real one. I should really stop talking and just fire it up. As you can hear, the engine is very smooth at idle and at low RPM, but when you put your foot down, the engine will start screaming, and you will hear that V8 buzzing and, you know, shaking and rattling, and that's what makes the V8s absolutely magnificent. As you can see, at idle it's making 311 pound-feet of torque, pretty much. I mean, too much for an idle, which is great. 311 pound-feet of torque, because Lincoln cars at the time, they were extremely heavy. I mean they are like big barge of steel. That's why these engines were meant to be huge, so they can make a tons of torque, so they can move all of that steel around. This is a great engine actually. Let me tell you why. Because as you can see, this single carburetor on the top is choking the engine a little bit, and the exhaust, of course, it's choking the engine a little bit. So if you can put another 4-barrel carburetor, you know, next to it, if you can put long tubular headers to this engine with bigger exhaust diameter, and if you can put a more aggressive camshaft, and I mean, these cylinder heads are the best because they are at plus 15 quality, so these are the best cylinder heads available for this V8 here in automation. You need just a better camshaft, and as I mentioned, another carburetor on the top, a bigger exhaust diameter, better headers, and you will just make this beast push at least 500 horsepower. I mean, before I settled on these stock figures and stock numbers, I tried and pushed it all the way to the limits. It made around 530 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. That's it. But 530 horsepower, that's a great number back in 1968. So I hope that you really enjoyed this engine, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video, because I really did. I mean, making classic legendary V8, especially from the 60s eras, 70s eras, even 80s. All of these eras are just amazingly well in automotive history. So thank you so much guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you are new to my channel, get subscribed, share the video if you want to share it, and keep requesting more legendary engines like this one, and even better than this one. I'm gonna see you very soon with more videos and more content. So wait for me and stay tuned, and bye bye for now.